Hello, I have a question for you today, and that is, what is social change?
Well, social change to me is the ebb and flow of society and how a community or even, a state or a nation, how they collectively make decisions and changes among their area. That's social change. So.
Yeah, it does make sense. Do you have an example of the social change that's happened in history? Like, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that you have in mind. You can just say one.
Yeah, like, deciding on certain bills that should be passed or shouldn't be passed.
That's true.
Going to war or not, And definitely people making decisions that the government put through.
Yeah.
Technological advances. I think the sheer fact that I do most of the research for all of my homework at school on a computer is the biggest change, because I remember, like, I will tell my mom, I gotta write this research paper, and she's like, well, at least you don't have to drive down to the library and search through hundreds of books and take hours to do it. I can find a .net or .org website in a matter of minutes, and then it's a credible source. So I think that's the biggest change that makes our lives different.
Interesting. What's your opinion, or what's your definition of social change to you?
Social change. I want to say social change. It happens depending on what society needs at that time or what it might be going through. So I'm taking political science right now. We've been going over things as in like what happened during World War I and what happened during World War II. You had women that were just at home, and then the men had to go to war, and then you needed women back at home to do things and take over jobs that men used to do. So they had to fill in, and then that was a big social change. Ethnicity in the White House.
Yeah.
So that's going to change things. What's going to happen in the future? Hispanic in the White House, an Asian in the White House. I mean, the nation's changing. And I saw this thing online, and it projected what an average person would look like in like 50 years. And with all the immigrants coming from different countries and different nations, it's going to change. There's not going to be like all the ethnicities are going to be hybridized. So you're not going to have one specific race anymore. There's going to be all kinds of changes. You're going to have mixed races and mixed ethnicities of different people. So I think there's going to be social change. I feel it's inevitable.
Change is the way our society changes in many forms. Let's say right now, well, if you look at economics, it went from macro to micro real soon because they saw that free trade wasn't happening. During the Great Depression, you guys saw that there's many things like banks were giving out loans to people that couldn't even afford them, and they saw that that wasn't going the right way. So to bring out of that microeconomics, they had to go into macroeconomics, which meant that they had to bring the government into it. And I think that's social change in a way, because it changed how society worked from a person being able to own their own business and put their own prices to the government actually telling them what they could do and can't do.
That's true. So you say, like, you're talking about economically, that something that happens that's economic, it's definitely tied to society, because you can agree society makes up a lot of what economy is. And from that event that really changed what society is to now, does now reflect on that event?
Yes, it does. Since then, there's been so many changes. Like, there's been so many limits to the government's potential to intervene into the market society, which has helped so many, let's say, small businesses flourish instead of big business flourish. Since Walmart's taken over a lot of parts of the society today, like you see a Walmart everywhere you go. You don't see that many small shops, like mom and pop shops. But since our society is changing right now, you're seeing more of these mom and pop shops than Walmarts, and many people are changing that perspective, big business to small business.
So society in a way is just adapting to like all different changes.
Yes. Exactly.
But could you like give an example of maybe like an important event of social change that's happened in history that changed how it is today, like society, how it behaves today?
And definitely the civil rights movement. It's the first thing that comes to mind, The biggest one. Just gave such a huge population the the right to participate in anything and everything political in this country. So.
If you could change something today, or if you were to talk to a politician right now and ask him for something to change, what would you have in your mind to ask?
About more local government. I think local government should be in charge opposed to federal government. We should do more stuff by local government, less by federal.
Do you think that, do you have an example of something that you'd like to change more in society right now?
Guns.
Guns?
Like all the gun change, I think it should go back to the way it was before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because criminals are going to get guns, and regular citizens that aren't breaking the law are going to have guns. So that's what I think should change.
All right. Could you think, I see you're in the U.S. Army. Could you maybe, you talk about how society has changed from the past, let's say like societal approach to the involvement in World War II and a societal approach to the war on terrorism right now. Do you think that society has somewhat changed their opinions of war? How there's some people, like back with World War II, they were for war, and now people can see war as unpopular.
Yeah, Ken, I'm a recruiter too, so it's actually,
Yeah.
I can see it big time. A lot of people think that everyone's going to go to war and that recruiters just lie to you and the army lies to you.
yeah.
You're going to go to war and fight. They don't want to go to war and fight. They want to use a lot of the kids want the benefits that the army gives for college and all that other stuff. They don't want to go to war. So I see a huge difference because during World War II, I believe people were volunteering by like thousands and people were getting disqualified for medical reasons, and now we actually have to like search for people to join the army.
Like most importantly, I feel like education should really be like a place where they focus a lot on because that's kind of like the people that go to school are going to go out into the world and then they're going to, create things, build things, but people need to come here to figure out where they're going to be. Like if they're going to be like a scientist, if they're going to be like a musician, an artist, whatever they're going to be. Like we need those people.
Yeah.
So I think education, when we're like getting more people into school or making them see like it's not scary, and it's just hard because I feel like socially, like school is scary. Like people think of school like, no, like I can't do it, like it's hard, but the problem is like they don't realize that schools like this, like Miracles, they really help you. And if more schools were like that, maybe more people would go, and if there was more help, if they felt like they can go to school, like, so I feel like, that's what I would ask. That's what I would want to talk about.
I think what should change is that they should have more help for like students, like money-wise, like financial aid, because they only give it to like students who like their parents don't make enough. But then there's some students who are very independent and their parents make a lot of money, but still they can't like get that financial aid.
And you think like the way that students can approach schools, like, does that really change how society is in the future because money doesn't go to certain people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of students drop out because of that too, because they can't afford it.
They just go get a job, and they work somewhere that they're not really happy.
Yeah.
And they're not evolving or excelling or really doing anything for anyone but besides feeding into the whole like worker, that doesn't.
Would you agree with the idea, kind of like you're concluding to it, that it's like the future of society is being morphed by who has the money for an education and who doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally think that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I agree.